please.
Snakes. The legless carnivorous reptiles found on 6 of the 7 continents on the planet, plastered across our most valuable luxury brands, the basis for an entire magical language in the wizarding world, regardless of its speech impediment tendencies.
Thanks.
Anytime.
And also, the evolutionary reason for our superior vision? With over 39,000 known species around the world, our slithering serpents exhibit incredible diversity. From tiny thread snakes to massive boa constrictors and pythons, humanity holds a distinctive fear for snakes, or rather, Ophidiophobia.
Not candy. Down goes Wolvie.
Researchers put this fear up to an evolutionary innate survival mechanism designed to detect danger. Combined with learned behavior and cultural stigma, the brain is hardwired to identify these slithering, fast-moving, and often venomous creatures as threats. A fear not only reinforced by stories, but media alone.
Please, you don't have to hurt him.
Hurt him? Snakes never hurt anyone.
The snake detection theory, proposed by anthropologist Lynn Isbell, suggests that the intense long-term threat that venomous snakes posed drove the rapid evolution of enhanced visual processing in early primates. Snakes were among the first and most prominent predators for our early ancestors.
He thinks this sack looks good.
Driving the need for better visual systems to avoid them. Enhanced color vision and depth perception may have evolved as an anti-snake adaptation. And lemurs exemplify this perfectly, as King Julian evolved in environments with few venomous snakes.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
And therefore have poor vision. This predatory pressure favored more narrow forward-facing eyes and specialized brain regions like the pulvinar, which specializes in rapid visual processing, highly active in detecting camouflaged, deadly snakes, resulting in this innate ability to spot them even millions of years later. Studies show humans can detect snakes more quickly and accurately than even our most nocturnal creatures.
His eyes are tuned for optimal night vision.
Even in degraded, blurry, or camouflaged instances, supporting this idea of a deeply ingrained cognitive mechanism we all have.
As dusk turns to dark, he looks down into a forest clearing.
With up to 1,200 bones, no eyelids, and tongues that smell the air, snakes are really just built different. Using their forked tongues to collect particles from the atmosphere, they're then analyzed by the Jacobson's organ on the roof of their mouth.
To us, the snake's forked tongue means danger and deceit. But to a snake, all that flicking lets it paint a picture of the world around it.
Some even glide or fly and can survive months without food. Species like the gliding snake can flatten their ribs into a concave C shape to catch air.
It moves its head back and forth, which passes waves down its body like it's swimming in air.
And float between trees. Don't worry, already checked. They're not in North America. The Brahminy blind snake in Southeast Asia can reproduce on their own through an asexual process known as parthenogenesis.
There's no dad DNA. If you ever watch Jurassic Park, there's this whole thing of how they make all female dinosaurs. Well, that's what's going on right here that the reptiles do.
While male snakes as a whole have 2 reproductive organs called hemipines. Bro got a
You
back
can
up.
actually see them as little spurs poking out of their body.
We evolved to fear snakes to survive encounters with dangerous predators, a trait that became ingrained over millions of years. Studies show infants exhibit stress reactions to snake images, suggesting an inherent rather than learned fear.
Inside of this room are some of the deadliest snakes in the world. I have Gaboon Viper.
Linked to how our brain processes rapid movements and unusual shapes. Their slithering movement, unpredictable speed, and venomosity causes anxiety. With poisonous bites killing thousands annually, It's no wonder negative portrayals of snakes are littered throughout myths,
has captivated us for almost 3,000 years.
religion,
You shall not eat of every tree.
and media. But for many of us, if there ever comes a time where we find ourselves in proximity with a snake big enough to audition to be Malfoy's house pet, it's still on sight.
And manages to set the bloody place on fire.
The sequence starts with us climbing up to the top of the room requirements where all these flames are flicking up. Tom pretty much did most of that himself.
Everyone off straight away, please.
We had to rig that so that all of the furniture was shaky and wobbly while they were climbing, but of course was completely safe.
Snakes break all the ecological rules. Most vertebrate groups follow fairly consistent biological frameworks. Birds lay eggs. Mammals birth live young. You know, simple stuff. Warm-blooded animals eat frequently to keep their metabolic ovens running. Most vertebrates abide by the same guidelines of reproduction, movement, vision, and metabolism, all to a molecular level. But snakes just wanted to be different so bad. Legless, elongated serpentine silhouettes, cryptic behavior, and the ultimate reproductive other. No wonder Samuel L. Jackson had enough. Outside of being the biggest anomaly in the animal kingdom, the reticulated python found throughout South and Southeast Asia can reach lengths of over 30 feet, which is longer than a double-decker bus on Oxford Street in London.
You're missing the turn, you're missing the turn, you're missing the turn!
The tree anaconda found in the Amazon can weigh in at more than 550 pounds, more than double the weight of the average adult male, while the Barbados thread snake is only about 4 inches long and as thin as spaghetti. The death adder snake, intuitively found across the land down under, because of course they are,
Oh no.
can strike, inject venom, and return to its starting position all in less than 0.15 seconds, faster than a human can blink. So maybe Bruce Lee actually meant, like the death adder, your strike should be felt before it's seen. Snakes hold a dualistic, powerful place in global culture, simultaneously representing evil and temptation in European tradition, while also symbolizing fertility, healing, rebirth, and wisdom in many African, Eastern, and indigenous cultures. As they shed their skin, they're often seen as eternal transformative beings. Culturally, our physical environment reinforces the fear of snakes through storytelling and lack of familiarity. Many cultures depict snakes as symbols of evil, deceit, or danger. Such as our biblical serpent in the Garden of Eden, or Medusa in mythological Greece. It's no secret that snakes are widely loathed and feared, often even cited as the most detested animal across the kingdom. And in some ways, this fear isn't necessarily misplaced. More than 138,000 people die of venomous snake bites each year, mostly in Africa and Asia, with our former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan placing snake bites as the most important tropical disease you've never heard of.
Snakebite is the biggest public health crisis you have likely never heard of.
Even our greatest cultures closer towards antiquity, ancient Egypt, Greece, and Mesoamerica, all revered serpents. Our modern-day Hippocratic oath, sworn by medical physicians across the world when embarking on their careers, most know of the mainstream pledge to do no harm. Though originally the oath read as "I swear by Apollo, the physician, and Asclepius." Now, you might be asking yourself, who the hell is Asclepius? Reading up on your Homer, you would quickly realize he was a Greek demigod. So think Percy Jackson, and physician who inspired a cult of healing around the 5th century BC, that spread all the way from Greece through the Mediterranean. This cult associated with snakes, since Asclepius was said to have learned the secret of bringing the dead back to life from a serpent. That's why even today, our universal symbol for medicine, pharmacies, and medical aid societies throughout the globe is a snake curled around the staff of Asclepius, or the staff of Hermes Trismegistus, to Odyssey and mythology fans everywhere. Archaeologists to date have documented more than 900 brick-and-mortar sanctuaries dedicated to Asclepius in Greece, the Turkish Anatolia Peninsula or Asia Minor, North Africa, Rome, and even as far as modern-day Germany. In global culture, snakes are powerful, paradoxical symbols representing both creation and destruction, healing and poison, and wisdom and deception. Because they shed their skin, snakes are near universal emblems of rebirth and immortality. The act of sloughing off skin symbolizes the shedding of one's old self to grow and achieve eternal youth.
I can't believe our first day at MIT! MJ, come on, pretend like you're not the happiest you've ever been in your entire life.
The Ouroboros, an ancient symbol of a serpent eating its own tail, signifies such cyclical renewal, self-sufficiency, and the unity of all things. The symbol for eternity originated in ancient Egypt around the 14th century BC, and named by the Greeks, represents the societal concept of all is one, the infinite cycle of the universe. In many cultures, they're seen as guardians of the underworld, or keepers of ancient hidden wisdom. Wadjet, a protector in ancient Egyptian culture, represented royalty and protection, while Apophis, chaos. In Aboriginal Australia, the rainbow serpent equates to creation and life-giving water. And all the way on the other side of the world, in Native American cultures, the Hopi snake dance and horned serpent represented fertility, rain, and shared ancestral lineage. Even in modern-day luxury and sports car brands like Alfa Romeo, Shelby, and Dodge Viper all use snake imagery to convey speed and danger. While luxury clothing brands like Gucci have evidently used the king snake, becoming a signature motif under creative director Alessandro Michele.
That kind of contradiction between the past and the future. It's my way to work.
Known for its distinctive red, black, and white stripe pattern, ingrained a degree of opulence in our serpentine soulmates. Our ancestors' survival depended on spotting camouflaged predators. Humans fear snakes due to a combination of evolutionary biology, rapid visual detection, and learned cultural context. While we aren't necessarily born with an active phobia at day one, we are genetically primed to develop one far more easily. Anthropologist Lynn Isbell suggests that the pressure of avoiding snakes actually drove the evolution of the advanced primate visual system. Her snake detection theory, or SDT, in 2006 posits that our visual evolution was primarily driven by the need to quickly detect and avoid venomous snakes.
Oh my god, this snake room is so deadly, I have to play the disclaimer right here.
As they were among the first and most prominent predators of early primates. Visual specialization had to quickly occur to ensure survival, developing specialized neural structures such as an enlarged pulvinar, a region located in the thalamus of our brain, in order to process snake-like shapes and patterns rapidly and unconsciously. 100 million years ago, constrictor snakes influenced the initial expansion of the primate visual system. 40 million years later, the emergence of venomous snakes further drove development of advanced vision in anthropoid primates. So, monkeys, apes, and humans.
There's someone I want you to meet. This is Ben.
My hand? He wants to shake my hand?
Yeah. Hi, Ben.
Studies show that both humans and non-human primates can detect images of snakes faster than any other fear-relevant or neutral stimuli, even when the images are blurred or camouflaged. The speed at which detection occurs is almost instantaneous. Pulvinar neurons in macaques have been found to fire stronger and more quickly in response to snake images than to any other object, including the faces of other primates. The shared dedicated visual pathway triggers a fear response in the amygdala before the conscious mind even identifies the object as a snake. Research indicates that infants and young children who have no prior exposure to snakes still show an attentional bias and faster reaction times towards them. This long-term coexistence with snakes, unlike modern dangers like cars or disease, have been a lethal threat to our ancestors for over 40 to 60 million years, allowing enough time for these biological mechanisms to become embedded in our brains. As mentioned before, lemurs, particularly those found in Madagascar, outside of having a knack to move it, are recognized as having some of the lowest visual acuity among any primate. Lemurs and other strepsirrhines, like the lorises and galagos, generally have the worst visual acuity, largely since they evolved in an environment lacking these venomous snakes. Evolutionary trade-offs for nocturnal or low-light survival, reducing pressures to evolve high-resolution vision. The suborder often possesses a tap-turn lucidum, or a reflective layer behind the retina, enhancing night vision. And you see this with all nocturnal creatures across our planet. Even household cats have reduced overall daylight visual acuity, but become a menace at night when the lights are off. Such as the owl monkey, which inhabits tropical forests of Central and South America, more commonly known as night monkeys.
Come on, honey. Well, don't anger her when she's on my carotid artery.
They have monochromatic vision, meaning they see only in shades of gray.
They are found from the tropical forest of Panama in Central America, down to the northern portion of Argentina,
improving light sensitivity while also limiting the detail and color perception found in their diurnal relatives. Across all creatures in the animal kingdom, nocturnal species consistently have lower visual acuity than diurnal ones, as their eyes have larger corneas to gather light, sacrificing the sharp, high-resolution focus that smaller cornea diurnal eyes provide. Though some researchers do still argue that this snake sense may be driven by simple visual cues, like the reflection off of snake scales or their curvilinear shape, rather than an innate concept of snake. Critics point out that humans can also rapidly detect modern threats they didn't necessarily evolve alongside, such as oncoming cars or autonomous humanoid robots, suggesting a more generalized threat detection mechanism. An alternative view is that primates are born with a general predator template rather and learn to specifically recognize local threats through visual experience than a complete innate serpentine module, if you will. Though, there is still something to be said for the speed at which we recognize snakes out of all predatory animals, hinting at least to some sort of evolutionary relationship between us and our slithering socialites.
Look at that, I just made a kitty sound. That's how I affect.
Let's see if we're gonna turn it
right
up.
here. Okay, right there. You like that?
Now check out the eyeballs on this owl. This is the only nocturnal owl species.
This is wait, you said owl.
I'm sorry, it's an owl.
Snakes are among the most biologically bizarre creatures on Earth. From their solar-powered metabolism to its ability to mimic spiders with their tail, You can just about find every variant possible throughout the vast ecosystems around our planet.
This species has only recently been discovered, and so far it has been found nowhere else but here. Its camouflage is so effective that it's almost impossible to see it on these rocks.
As ectotherms, snakes rely entirely on external heat to regulate their body temperature, ergo, the sun. This efficiency allows some species to survive for up to 2 years without a single meal.
I'm eating 10,000 calories of the unhealthiest Hostess items. First up, the Hostess Mounts. The Double Down is one of the unhealthiest items at KFC, and I'm attempting to eat 10. This is the unhealthiest burger in LA.
Pit vipers, boas, and pythons all possess specialized pit organs that act like built-in infrared cameras, allowing them to literally see the heat of warm-blooded prey even in pitch-black darkness. The spider-tailed horned viper has a tail tip that looks exactly like a spider. It wiggles this lure to trick birds into landing directly within its striking range.
This is the snake's only chance to eat for months.
The eastern hognose snake is known as nature's Brahma king.
Wow.
When threatened, it flips on its back, sticks out its tongue, and plays dead.
And it went straight into play dead mode. While it appears to be dead, it is still very much alive.
Even emitting a foul, rotting smell to complete the act.
That reptile right there has some of the most incredible defensive abilities of any reptile that exists.
Its commitment to the craft is commendable. We even got snakes who resell like it's sneaker con. The tiger keyback snake isn't just venomous, it's poisonous by refurbishing toxins from the poisonous toads it eats and stores them in special glands on its neck for defense. Our aforementioned flying snakes, or rather 5 species of Asian tree snakes, can glide through the air and travel up to 330 feet in a single leap. By flattening the rib cages into a concave position and undulating their bodies. Kinda like how we would fly, but just successful. Biologists have known for quite a while that some snakes bear live young, others lay eggs, while our previously noted parthenogenesis makes up the rest of the ophidiobiological suborder's prolific behavior. However, molecular research in the last couple of years have shown that snakes are somewhat agnostic when it comes to the organization of their gametic cells. Some have chromosomes that resemble birds. Others have chromosomes resembling mammals. Meiosis, our shared critical process of genetic recombination during the creation of sex cells, varies from snake species to the other. Some imitate the process found in our dogs and birds, while others resemble the reptilian ancestors. Even though a backup willy is low-key the toughest thing a snake has done, females can also store sperm in their bodies for up to 8 years and delay reproduction for nearly a decade. The long game, as they would say. When it comes to metabolizing food, it can't be more complicated, as some snakes eat frequent meals. Others probably eat once a year. Pythons, even though massive, have the lowest metabolic rate of any vertebrates, and their mitochondrial genes, orchestrating the conversion of food into cellular energy, differ from those of all other living vertebrates. Their metabolic and molecular diversity allows snakes to live on land, in trees, saltwater, freshwater, in jungles, and even the Arctic Circle. Which is crazier given their cold-blooded nature, forced to rely on the environment to maintain body temperature. Yeah, now they're just flexing on us. But perhaps the most thought-provoking, virtually every other terrestrial animal slows down while traversing a cluttered obstacle-filled environment. Snakes, on the other hand, use obstacles as a nitro boost, moving even more rapidly. This metaphor for adapting oneself to adversity and challenge is the cherry on top. Or, in this case, spider. Nevertheless, with all current and pre-modern cultures whom associated itself with that of serpents, or any other animal species for that matter, there's an implied acknowledgement that nature can be unpredictable, sometimes gracious, other times malevolent, often ambiguous. In an age where predictability and certainty are revered, The ancient homage of snakes offers an intriguing cautionary tale. As society faces the precariousness of climate change and environmental volatility, our respect for serpents evidently remain a way of acknowledging all the things we primordial humans still aren't able to control. Especially not flying snakes. Get those parachuting basilisks away from me. No sentient slinky about to land on the back of my neck.
The only nocturnal monkey species, it's called an owl monkey because of those huge eyes and because they're nocturnal. They normally are eating things like fruit.
Oh, look, it's like he's been up all night having a Red Bull.
As they were among the Alright, one more and your baby train. Pulvinar oh, here we go again. Macaques! Bound to fire macaques. I can't say it without saying macaques. Jesus. I learned that game from William Wesley. You can never check me. Back to back for the bitches that didn't get the message. Back to back like I'm on the cover of Lethal Weapon. Back to back like I'm Jordan 96, 97. Whoa, very important and very pretentious. When I look back, I might be mad that I gave this attention. Yeah, but it's weighing heavy on my conscience. Blowing my heart, they want to reply. The number one question is how? How does it feel? Now that you're on, how much you worth? How big is your home? How come you won't? Get a few features. I think you should. How about I don't? How about you just get the fuck on my dick? How about you listen and never forget? Only gonna say this one time and I'll dip. Bitches ain't worthy to be on my shit. Haven't you heard as I'm cold as a tip? Tip of the iceberg that tip to Titanic and no tips all around and my shit is gigantic as big as the fucking Atlantic. I'm lit.